Hi, this is Paul with Systems Comprehensive. I'm here with Tommy Perfect. Tommy Perfect's located in San Diego. I've got to know Tommy, meeting him at conferences. Very, very impressed with what Tommy's been doing in his business, growth, how he is culture with his employees. Just a lot of really cool things that I've got to know about Tommy. So I'm really excited to have him here so we can talk to him and see what he can do and see what he's going to be talking about at the conference. Hey, Tommy, welcome to the Systems Conference show.
Yeah, I'm excited to be on here with you.
So, Tommy, you're out of San Diego, and how many properties are you currently managing?
Yeah, currently we're at about 980 units managed. That's all residential, some single family and condos, all the way up to a couple large multifamily properties.
How long have you been in property management business?
It'll be just about 10 years now.
10 years. And when did you really start having some rapid growth? Has it been recent, or was it a long time ago? Like, when have you seen?
Yeah, when I started early in 2015 with my business partner, he had started the business by himself and brought me on as one of his first hires. Honestly, I was doing maintenance and accounting for him for the whole portfolio. And we just kind of built the business underneath ourselves as we went. So our rapid growth really started happening about 5 years ago. So we took on some really organic growth and had some big jumps, but really learning how to generate leads and create your brand happened about 5 years ago when, we really started delving into becoming an expert in the field.
That is awesome. And so your first topic you're going to be talking about is branding yourself as an expert, how this was a huge change for us and led to rapid growth. Can you kind of explain that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, our first foray into trying to become an expert, I focused on becoming a CPM with IREM, the Institute of Real Estate Management. And that was a really good education course, but didn't really help me that much on residential property management, especially third-party residential property management. But it gave me a good foundation and helped me begin to network. Then I started going to conferences. My first conference I ever went to was PM Grow here in San Diego, because I always thought conferences were too expensive to go to and a big waste of time. But I was able to make some connections and learn about really branding my business and showing people that I am an expert. I always have struggled. I'm 31 right now. So I started when I was just 22 years old, and, somebody's going to, call me for their $1 million home in San Diego and trust that I'm going to know what I'm talking about. It was kind of an uphill battle for me. I always shied away from being face-to-face with people. I always tried to be on the phone. But then, as I got more time in the industry and understood what my company could do and the processes and systems we had in place, branding that and telling people what we were doing and showing them how we could, make their property worth more, uplifting that property, uplifting people, uplifting communities. Yeah, that's kind of what got us out of bed in the morning, and we made our brand around that, and it's been very successful for us.
And you were at one point, you were the BDM for your company, I'm sure, like most business owners.
I mean, at one point I was handling sales calls and things like that. I wouldn't really say that I was doing all of the BDM things because it's a full-time job if you're actually trying to generate leads. But yeah, I've been on those on-sites. I've been in charge of the marketing. I've been in charge of lead gen. I've pretty much done every role in the company as we've gone along.
So you have a great point there. A lot of people are afraid to spend money on BDM, on having someone out there, on a marketing person, things like that. For your company to have this rapid growth and to be, have such, to be doing so well, you are spending money on a BDM, marketing, things like that. I mean, marketing. What do you do? What's going on in that room?
Yeah, so we started out and we made a big jump and we did rent scale and we hired our first BDM. Turned out being a personal connection that we hired, and we had them in the scale club for the first year. And that was a great way to get a little bit of a blueprint for what a BDM would do. Honestly, my business partner had begun filling that BDM sales and marketing role, and we just weren't as successful, growing and generating those leads, partially because, his time was split between multiple responsibilities, but also we wanted somebody that was that natural salesperson that was going to go out and close deals. And that's not to say that we couldn't go and get converted clients. We wanted somebody dedicated to that so that our conversion rate would increase and our net deals closed would increase just by sheer focus and determination on generating leads and opportunities, right? So we went with RedScale. We hired that, and it was expensive, but worth every penny. We don't use them currently. Our BDM is not part of Scale Club. We're on our second BDM now, and we have that blueprint, and we use our Lead Simple processes as our CRM to make sure that our system's followed, and we continually upkeep that. But we found that somebody dedicated to that, dedicated to those pipelines, dedicated to those leads and the lead response has been the only way to actually get new business. If you're not the first one calling back or answering the phone the first time, then you're not going to get the business.
I remember when I was BDM, I had like an 80% close rate when I would go to the deployment, but the entire drive to the appointment, I'd be like, I don't want to be here. I have too much work to do. I have too much stuff focused. And I really didn't think about, I'm going to get a bonus from that because I owned the company. I wasn't going to get a bonus. And so that's where I agree with you. Sometimes owners, we think, we're the best person closing the deal. We might be the best person to close the deal, but a lot of times don't want to go to close it. We don't want to, dedicate the time to do the follow-up. We don't want to dedicate the time because we have our hand in 50 pots, and it's really difficult to really focus on that when you also are focusing on employee reviews, what's going on, all these other things.
Yeah, well, I mean, and as a business owner, my title is CEO here, and I really try to stay out of the weeds of stuff, but I'm also that backstop for my BDM of, hey, somebody wants a more in-depth analysis on their property, or they need to call in the big guns to help close a deal, then I'll go out and hop on a call or go visit the property, or, I still, when my BDM's out, it'll be either me or my operations director. She was my BDM before. We just fill in, and everyone's capable of closing those deals. But like my topic says, branding ourselves as an expert, it's not just one person, right? But they're not hiring Tommy Perfect to do their property management. They're hiring Uplift Property Management and the team of property managers and the process that I've created, right? So that, for me, has increased the retention of clients because they aren't hiring Tommy Perfect. And actually, the ones that get upset about me not doing stuff for them are the ones that we end up having to churn through and, replace. So hiring as a branded up expert team that is there to manage your property. Our niche is, a full service property management, and our target market is, rental property owners that are looking for an expert property management company that they can trust. And that's our goal.
And I agree 100% with you. I remember, I always said I didn't talk to owners because I tried to delegate owners and tenants, but I would talk to owners, and if they asked me any question about the property, I played stupid. Even if I knew the answer, I'd say, well, let me ask a property manager, because then they would ask me questions about that. But I had no problem talking to owners about a new law that came into effect, or what they were thinking about their properties, or just about their kids, because they've known me for a long time. So I agree with you that it's nice to be that person that's a closer, that can go help your BDM, being like, hey, this is our BDM that's behind him. This is the team. And that expert, what was so you've been to my systems cards too, correct? You've been a couple times now, right?
Yeah.
What made you go to the system conference? What makes you like the system? I assume you like it to do it more than once.
Oh, I thought it might be the worst conference yet. No, I'm just kidding. No, I like the systems conference the most because of the intimate nature of the feedback you're able to receive and the work that you're able to do on your business in real time, right? You're not just sitting in an auditorium and you're like there talking to the other people, and it makes it so much easier than being in some ballroom to connect with the other people that were just sitting in that little class that you were just in, or you were listening to the same topic, and now you can branch out and have a communication with somebody else that actually was asking questions that you thought were important, right? So it was really great to connect, and actually I'm in a couple mastermind groups from people that I met at Systems Conference now, and those are things that have added continual growth to my business and helped push us forward.
That is great. I always love to hear that. And we started off with 15 people, and we try to keep that 15-person feel with 200 people. So it's just like, that's why we have 12 things going at once. I always say, biggest complaint I get is there's too much stuff going on and I want to see more. And I'm okay with that complaint. I want you to leave there being like,
come back next year.
Yeah, I come back next year. So the second topic you're going to be talking on, you'll be speaking both days in small group settings. Culture, developing core values and culture that push your business forward. Basically how culture will propel your business and helps it grow. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, so, our company used to be called Jensen Properties San Diego, Inc., and our email was jensenpropertiessd.com, and it was just a mouthful. But we had always had our mission statement since we started our EOS, or Entrepreneurial Operating System, process of uplifting people, properties, and communities. You heard me say that before too, right? But that's really what gets me out of bed. I get to select people that are going to live in my community. I get to, uplift properties for owners and for tenants alike. And then I get to uplift communities by adding awesome contributors to the community, right? And keeping detractors away at the same point, right? Obviously following fair housing and everything. But as a business owner, I have employees that get up and do the same thing, right? They follow my core values that we have implemented, which are, we get things done, we're solution-focused communicators, and we're committed to continuous improvement. With those core values, we push our mission forward of uplifting people, properties, and communities. And when everybody understands that that's the goal, it's not just about, dollars for an owner or making sure that the tenants follow the rules, or, all of these things that can get so transactional. When you give it, part of your core being of who you are and how you operate, then your business runs so much more smoothly. But the inverse is the same as well, of when somebody's not exhibiting those core values, they stick out like a sore thumb, and you can see it detract from your business so much faster, and you're able to make those changes that you need to, and talk to somebody about their performance or how they're exhibiting those core values, or even if you have to let somebody go, it happens. But you can see those detractors, and when you have that, synergy in your company, your business, your change implementations, new softwares, new processes, new technologies, everything is so much easier when everybody understands your core values.
And now I'm going to ask you some personal questions, and I thought I would send this out before, so hopefully these won't be too personal, but what is your average rent of the properties you're managing? Because it helps people understand.
Our average rent, and you got to remember, we've got studio apartments all the way up to 7-bedroom homes, right? So there's a big range on that, but the average rent for the entire portfolio is about $2,700.
And what's your low rents and what's your high rents?
So the highest ones are $10,000 rentals, right? And the low ones are usually somewhere around $1,100 or $1,200 at this point for studio apartments.
Okay, so you guys in San Diego, we still have $1,100 and $1,200 studio apartments. We manage the entire county, so that includes the cities and the central areas, but it also includes some of the outskirts, and we pride ourselves on being able to cover the whole county and being systemized to make that happen. So uplifting people right now, it's the big topic is, rents are going up. It's very expensive. San Diego, I think, was ranked as one of the most expensive cities in the United States to live in.
I think we might have been number one this year.
Yeah, I think you beat San Francisco, which was because people want to live there, because it's a beautiful city. It's a beautiful place to live. But, you know, it is expensive. It is, you will have people that are moving in that are frustrated. So your whole Uplift, you know, it sounds like your culture is to treat tenants with respect, with dignity, and you know that they are your customers too. I'm getting that. Is that true? That's still part of
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, they are your customers, right? And you have a responsibility to provide quality housing. So we are pretty selective on units that we take on, and mainly owners, right? Like, you could have a bad property as long as you have a good owner, and that owner's going to take care of it, right? And that's a huge relationship for us to keep. And we expect our owners to have our core values as well as our employees, right? So when we have an owner who's really not trying to get things done, or they're not solution focused communicators, right? Like, those are ones that we move on, because they're not ever going to get on the bus of actually uplifting people, properties, and communities. They're just there to make a buck, right? And that's not what we're about at Uplift. So we are able to channel those people, to other companies that might fit their needs better. We understand that we're not the best company for everybody, and we understand that not all rental property owners are the best for us. And when you understand those core values, and you can make decisions based on that feeling of what those core values are, but also on a hard data that you receive and goals that you set, then melding those two just create a symbiotic relationship and push you forward. It's amazing.
One of my most watched and favorite videos of my company was 10 reasons you might just not be a fit for our company. And I put it right on the video. Like, I put all those things. You want to do maintenance yourself, you're probably not a fit for us. You know, you want to set rental prices and decide who the tenant is, you definitely are not a fit for us. Like, you know, all of the, and then I'd go through why, like, you know, because you're going to break for housing and we're not. You know, we understand the laws. We understand what's going on. I'm not going to risk my company and lawsuits and everything else because you want to make those decisions. If you want to make the city who the tenant is, self-manage.
I had that call just this morning, right, where my BDM's out today, sick, and had a lead call in. He wants a lease-only service in one of the outskirts of San Diego, but his property's kind of weird. And I just told him, I was like, look, honestly, I'm not going to make enough money to make this worth my while, and I'm not going to be able to do anything more than what you're already doing, or only a little bit more, because I have experience doing it and systems to get it done, but I don't think it's going to be worth what you would have to pay me to make it happen. And essentially, I denied a client, right? And at the end of the call, he was so thankful that I was just straight with him. You know, I asked him for a 5-star Google review, got it right away.
Wow.
Somebody I didn't even do business with. I just told him the truth and said, this isn't really for us, and, you know, move on. And my business develops based on Google reviews, and that'd be really helpful. And he was like, yeah, great, I'll do that for you.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, we were the same. I mean, I really, I had an attitude, like, sometimes I'd go to owners and be like, you're just not a fit for my company for this and this reason. And they'd be like, all of a sudden they'd want to go with me. They'd be like, oh, but okay, we'll change. We'll let you do the repairs. We'll let you pick the person. And I'm like, do it. And
I call it the breakup sale.
Yeah. And I'd be like, why are you changing? They're like, because you know what you're doing. Like, everyone else is just trying to sell us and we'll do whatever you want. You know what you want. You know what your business is. They're like, we trust you. And so that's what you're talking about. Developing that trust, developing that expert, being that expert in the field. I mean, it's so important to know not only your business, but what's going on in California. Like, you know, now that I sold my company 3 years later, I don't feel like an expert in California, because it's like, you know, I'm a broker in Nevada now, and I know what's going on in Nevada, but it's like so ever changing. Every 6 months, you got to be up. I mean, during COVID, it was every week we had to stay up on what the new laws were.
Yep. Yeah, it honestly, California is making it easier for me to get business, and people need me more because they can't keep up with everything that happens, and they got to pay an expert to do it. So if you're branded as that expert and you have that presence, you know, really digital presence, that you're the expert, then your search engine optimization will go up and you'll get those leads organically, and then you don't even have to pay for them, which is just the icing on the cake.
What is your favorite system that you guys have in place? Like mine was my renewals process. What is the process that you're like, man, we've been working on this and we got this dialed down?
I mean, it's really hard to select because I don't know. I feel like I get focused on the next one so fast. And then once you get one dialed in, like renewal process, right? You know, so many property managers struggle to get even rent increases out every year or, you know, at lease term. And it's like this big, immense workload that people have. We don't even think about it anymore. Like it just happens. Like none of them ever get missed. We either renew them at the rate or we give them a little increase or we get them towards market with a bigger increase and following, you know, rent control laws in California and San Diego. But it's not even a question. And so tenants eligible for rent increase number is like almost always zero because my team has a process that goes behind it. The same thing happened for renters insurance. It used to be so hard to keep track of people with renters insurance and making sure that your policies were always up to date and all this stuff. But the process that we put in place makes it so that it's almost thoughtless. It's automatic. It just happens without us even doing anything. So the processes that are my favorite are the ones that I don't even have to think about anymore.
What is the one that you're currently working on right now? Like you know, what is the one that you're like, oh, this is one we need to work on? And
we're working on our safety inspection scheduling, how to work that into our leasing flow and, you know, be able to go in, you know, because California limits how we're allowed to inspect places. So making sure that we do that at a precise timing and get precise information. That one's been a little bit of a struggle for us to implement because there's just a lot of people involved with it. And
that's your inspections, you know, why your property manager, are they, or because we call them IPAs, interior property assessment. We never use that I word because we weren't licensed inspectors. Do you guys have actually inspectors do it, or are you having basically IPAs?
Yeah, so we call them safety inspections, and we have a general contractor that we partner with to accomplish those.
Okay, so we
get a nominal charge. That charge goes to the owner. We don't mark up that charge at all, but we have a licensed contractor that goes in and does a safety inspection, and they give us information and photos.
One of the ways that with my renewal process, how we got the safety inspections done is they could not finish the renewal process unless they scheduled and got that done. If they didn't get it done, then they didn't. And part of our benefits package was that they got a free renewal as long as they did it 30 days in advance. We started the renewal process 90 days in advance. The second 30 days hit, there was fees because they delayed it. And it was always because we had everything automated. For some reason, we couldn't get out there. Of course, they wouldn't be charged. But we had enough dates that they were like, I can only do Monday on the 5th Tuesday of the 7th month. Well, you're going to get a lot of fees because you're not making it, you know, easy for us.
Yeah, so accommodating it.
Yeah, and so I always liked that because it was like, it was on you. And we had, again, like you said, it was automated. We had automated emails that would go out and tell you where you were in the renewal process, tell you what you were missing, and telling you, hey, you have 13 days, which was automated. If you don't, you're going to have this, and this fee because you haven't followed, you know, what otherwise it's free. Like, you know, because we wanted to, you know, and it was a very big money generator because, you know, 80% of the people would get everything done on time, do it right, which was a money generator because that saved me money on staffing because it was done right and we didn't have renewals that were going, and the 20% that, you know, delayed, they were money generator because there was expenses on the tenant, and they were notified by text, by email. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Those are the really. It sounds like, you know, you've been working on systems. For how long have you been really working on systems? Because the first couple years of my company, I thought I had systems, but I really didn't. They were just kind of in my head. How long has it been that you've really tried to like systematize your company?
Yeah, like written down systems started back in 2017, where we're like, okay, we have to document the process. And we created an employee intranet where we're documenting all of the processes. And now we use it, we call it the hub, and it pops up on everybody's home screen when they open up Chrome, and it's just there. It's a resource. I had an employee in today asking about like keeping track of an insurance claim that we're following up on and making sure that we get all the details for the claim amount, right? I'm like, well, have you used the insurance form? There's just a form right there in the hub that they can have access to, and boom, okay, it's right there. It's not a lead simple process for us yet, but we will get to that point at some point. We're trying to knock down the things that make our employees' jobs easier up front, but it's been a long process. We went from just calendared tasks and spreadsheets and weekly check-in meetings to scorecards and rocks for every employee and lead simple processes getting put into place. We went from AppFolio processes to lead simple processes, and it's been a growth, and now we're at the point where it's okay, well, how are we automating these processes even more and getting integrations to work better with Zapier and AppFolio and lead simple and Jot forms and all of the different things that we have access to, and to make things streamlined so that the processes are driving the employees to be better.
And, I look at like the process will never end. I look at like the leader of the company that had processes the best, and that would be McDonald's. And right now they're doing processes. McDonald's is changing. If you go to McDonald's ever, they're changing all the processes so you don't see people when you order. So you don't ever wait in line because everything is either on an app or on a system so that they can. So now the processes are, how can I make a burger without humans? How can I do this? So as a property management company, you have really good processes. 10 years from now, you're going to have better and new processes, correct? You can't rest on, hey, we're doing things good now, we can just keep doing this for the next 20 years, correct?
Yeah, and it's really interesting. Some of the guys that were property managers that have been in business for 40, 50 years, and they talk about how these new companies, don't do it the same. And I'm like, yeah, we do it. We do it better. It's not about that, taking that phone call at 9:00 at night anymore, right? It's, well, I have a emergency maintenance line that at 9:00, it will funnel them to the exact vendor that they need to address this issue. And that vendor has a process that I've introduced them to and that they need to follow in order to get jobs done. And then it's, this whole loop of what happens, instead of me having to stress out managing properties because I'm going to get an owner that calls me at 11:00 on a Friday night about their water heater leaking, right? I see them and they're always stressed out. And I just think, wow, how do you take time to enjoy your family? You must have missed out on so much of your life by running things an old way and without systems and without processes, or if you did have them, they were very manual and required your time. And, all of these things were important to get done, but now we can communicate faster. We can make the things happen better, and we can be more available to everyone in our lives. So, uplifting people, it includes uplifting ourselves, right? And that's what we're here for.
Well, very, very important ending. So what I like to tell people from that is it's not too late. It doesn't matter if you've been in this business for 20 years. If you want to come and you want to just create some processes, it doesn't happen overnight. I did process this, change this, just like Tommy did. Tommy didn't have all his processes where they get done. You're not going to go to my conference and finish every process. You're going to go and you're going to finish something and you're going to make it more efficient. And then you're going to be excited about that. And the time that you're going to save from that more efficient, you can make something else more efficient. And you just keep going on. It also makes your company more profitable. You make more money, and it makes your company easier to sell if that time comes. So if you've been in the business for 30 years and you're like, if you have a file cabinet room, then, it's just, that's inefficient. And it's just, someone going to buy your company, they're going to change it. They're going to reinvent it. And they're going to be a lot more profitable once they get rid of the file cabinet room and they make things up to this next generation. The new generation.
Yeah, and even if you're at the systems conference and you aren't able to accomplish something, chances are that you met somebody and you made a connection with somebody that can help you get to that point, right? Whether it's another property manager or even one of our vendors that are there, like, the connections that you make will help progress your systems forward all year round.
That just like he said, Tommy got it right. Just, come to this event. You will see major changes within your company over time. There's a reason so many of the same people come every year. They keep on working out. They keep on making the company better. And, it is a small group event, so you can ask questions. You can be the person who doesn't understand how this is working. People want to help you at this event. It's a very, very good event. We keep it. The rooms, 12 rooms going at a time means the max people in a room is usually 20, but usually it's like 10 to 12 people in a room. It's awesome. You'll do great. Tommy, always good to talk to you. It's been great getting to know you. I can't wait to see another Padre with you. Because we both are Padre fans. I can see a little Padre things behind you.
My bobblehead's back here.
Yeah, and it was if you're seeing this after the playoffs, hopefully they won the World Series this year.
Amen.
Have a great day, everybody.